Hello there, people of YouTube land! This is the Dodowrestlingfan here today for its true review of Final Fantasy X. Now, the way that things are going to work with reviews on my channel are rather cliched. I'll judge the game in question on gameplay, graphics and presentation, story, and of course levels and bosses. And then at the end, I'll judge the game with a score from 1 to 100. So with that mandatory lecture out of the way, let's review a game. And today is Final Fantasy X. A game I know like the SpongeBob episode Band Geeks.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, and horseradish isn't either. No, Ronald, this is a review. Go back inside your cage. Anywho, without further ado, let the massive spoilers and review of Final Fantasy X commence. Come, start it before Ronald escapes the cage again. Intro time! Final Fantasy X takes place in Spira, a beautiful world where, for some odd reason, it's always summer. Exclude mandatory snow level Mount Gagazet. But you see, there's more than meets the eye, because trouble is always brewing in paradise. And that trouble's name is Sin, a giant whale monster thing with lots of eyes that makes my skin crawl. But zoom back 1,000 years before Spira is Spira. And when Sin was just born, we start in Xanarkand as our lead protagonist, Titus. I went through this in my top 5 games I never talk about. I know it's Titus, but I like Titus more. Back on topic, it's the night of the big Blitzball game, and Titus, being the leader and star of the Xanarkand Aims, is naturally getting ready for it. And in a rather charming gameplay segment where you interact and sign autographs for Titus' fans, it's time for the big show. On the way there, we find out, and we also get some backstory on Titus' father, Jeff, via a sportscaster. And we also find out that Titus kinda despises his old man. But then making his way to the Xanarkand Dome, Titus is prepping for the game. The crowd's electric, there's a death metal tune called Otherworld blasting in the Soldered Stadium, and then the game starts. But as the game is going, we get introduced to Titus' guardian slash father figure, Auron, who knows something is gonna go down. And, well, Xanarkand gets completely flooded and attacked by Sin. Just a few moments later, Titus barely escapes the collapsing arena and meets up with Auron, who says they gotta get out of Xanarkand. Well, gee golly, I would have never guessed that. After all, Xanarkand is just getting completely decimated by a giant whale monster. And the two fight their way through countless enemies before getting sucked up by Sin. Now, zoom ahead to the current day. Titus gets washed up on some island but sees a tempest, so he swims to it. And it's here that we meet up with future party member Riku and her Albed bros. Riku helps Titus defeat some monsters and takes them on her Albed ship, but in exchange for rescue, Riku asks Titus to help her out on some expeditions. The two search some kind of underwater laboratory and defeat the first actual boss of the game. All's good until Sin attacks the ship. Titus gets separated from Riku and washes up on Besaid Isle, where the Blitzball team with the Besaid Aurochs are practicing. Titus does a really flashy Blitzball move and earns the attention of party member Waka, who wants Titus to join the Aurochs. Titus accepts the offer. And it's here where the story opens up. It turns out that Waka is the guardian of a young summoner named Yuna, a young, sweet 17-year-old girl who's going on a pilgrimage to stop and defeat Sin, to bring about the calm. With her allies, Waka, Lulu, and Kimahri. Titus just kinda tags along, and the five start their grand journey. At this point, there's not much story. Just get to the temple, pray to the faith, get an Aeon, aka summon, and move on. It isn't until we reach Luca where the story picks up again. Remember how Titus joined the Besaid Aurochs? Well, it's here where this gets reintroduced. The big Blitzball championships are being held in Luca. So, it's time for Titus and the Aurochs to win a game, right? Well, Yuna gets kidnapped by some Albed folks, and Titus, Lulu, and Kimahri go after her while leaving Waka all alone to play the Blitzball game. But somehow, Waka defies the odds and wins the Blitzball game, but is really beat up. While Titus, Lulu, and Kimahri save Yuna because Waka is injured, he can't compete in the finals, so it's up to the Xanarkand Ape Star to take his place. And let's just say things don't go too well. The Arcs are getting their collective asses handed to them via the Luca goers. Halftime, and all the fans want Waka back. Waka comes back in a losing efforts, but who wins or loses doesn't matter in this case. Because Sin spawn attack, Luca, and it's here where the only dude that can wear socks and sandals and still be rad, Auron, shows up. And Waka and Titus fight their way through some spin spawn. and join up with Oron for some major ass kicking. However, it's Seymour Guado that ends up summoning Anima that takes care of the Sin Spawn. Get used to Seymour, you'll hear more from him. Hint, hint, he's the bad guy, hint, hint. After that, we head towards Me and High Road. After the long walk, they find out no one can pass through because of some sort of military operation to stop Sin. However, Seymour meets up with our gang and uses his power as a Maester of Yevon to help our crew out by letting them bypass the military blockade. Eventually, our gang makes it through past generic Earth level and rests at an inn. They also agreed to help the military by beating up some Sin Spawn to lure Sin out. So tomorrow comes and our party kicks some Sin Spawn ass. This lures Sin out. The military tries to fire some massive laser at Sin, however Sin reflects and the shot gets back on the land. And lots and dead. Lots and lots and lots of dead people. But hey, Seymour joins your party in this fight, so that's a win, right? After all of that, the game just kind of goes back to the Temple Faith repeat mode of storytelling until you get to Moonflow, where on the Shoe Puff, Yuna gets kidnapped again by somebody in an underwater machine tank thing. Titus and Waka save Yuna and depart for Guado Salam to get the next temple. It's where we find out that the person controlling the machine that kidnapped Yuna was Riku. Remember her? Well, she insists on joining with you in all of her underpowered glory. Note that mixed Riku's overdrive is overpowered as crap. The gang make their way to Seymour's hometown, Guado Salam, and Seymour invites our party for dinner. It's here that Seymour reveals that he wishes to marry Yuna. I guess you could say that Seymour wants to see more of Yuna, if you get what I'm saying. High five me! I just high-fived myself. After that, Yuna thinks about Seymour's offer. Our gang cross the Thunder Plains with only 2 hissy fits from Riku, and make their way to the next temple. The gang cross the next cholesterol trials. Yuna gets another Aeon, yada yada yada, and Yuna kinda runs off with Seymour to answer his marriage proposal. Titus and the gang go through some kind of snow area and end up getting attacked by some Elbed people. We ride a snowmobile and blah blah blah, nothing really interesting going on until we find Yuna praying in the Temple of the Faith to get another Aeon. Seymour is also protecting the place, or guarding Yuna's praying place thingamajigger, and our party has some words with Seymour. And it's here where Seymour turns rogue. Yuna comes out of the altar and declines Seymour's offer, and let's just say Seymour gets pretty pissed and fights our gang, and loses. Seymour is dead, but however he's not sent, so he's still on the loose. Our party just continues on the pilgrimage like nothing happened until our gang escapes Seymour's house, and we end up walking back up the snowy trail that we took the snow things on, the snowmobiles, and we end up falling in the lake because Albed are dickheads, and they decide that some sort of Sasquatch thing is going to punch the ground, and our gang falls in Lake Monolania. Well, in the depths of Lake Monolania, Sin does a thing, and Titus is now in Binnacle Desert, alone. Don't ask me how the heck that happens. He tries to fight some really big enemy, but has a really hard time. Orin and Lulu join up with Titus and the gang and search for the rest of our party. We find Waka, Kamari, and Riku, but Yuna is absolutely nowhere to be seen. We find out that this is Riku's hometown called, get this, home. Okay, but home is under attack. Our gang look for Yuna and all the chaos, but still can't find her. Stuff happens and home is set to explode. Riku's dad Sid takes his ship and rescues our heroes before the Big Bang. Home is destroyed, but we know where Yuna is because Sid has a very convenient crystal ball that allows him to see anything and any place on his ship. Convenient. Yuna is in Beville about to marry Seymour. Our gang ain't got time for that, and we fight a dragon to get to Beville. This scene is cool. Let's play Escape from the City behind it.
Rolling around at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow.
Well, our team fails at saving Yuna, and Yuna commits suicide. No, wait. Fail for? You've been completely useless since Yuna got E-freaked. But that'll do, pig. That'll do. With Yuna saved, Riku throws some bomb at Seymour and his goons. Our gang escape into Beville's Chamber of the Faith, where we find machines, or machina, which are forbidden by Yevon. And Beville is the Yevon-run city, so people, your very religion is lying to you. Dang, I feel bad for poor old Waka. Yuna gets the final story obtained Aeon Bahamut, and our gang gets because. Well rested, Auron tells Titus of Spira's Circle of Death, where the Summoner dies defeating Sin, but Sin just comes back after a decade or so. You and our Guardians are sentenced to Vera Pacifico, an inescapable dungeon, but it isn't because our gang escaped. We fight Seymour Natus and we defeat Seymour Natus. Yuna goes off to some lake in Macalania Woods, and Titus goes up to talk to Yuna about just quitting the pilgrimage. Yuna decides to go on even knowing that she'll die, doing the final summoning. And then it's here where we get an awkward love scene between Yuna and Titus. Yes, guys, Yuna x Titus is official. You can ship it now. After that, we head to the Calmlands because chocobo riding is fun. We also get some backstory on this place. The backstory being summoners used to fight Sin here. Into backstory. We head to Essential Snow level. Kamari has a catfight with his Ronzo brethren. Kamari wins, and we climb to the peak of Mount Gegazet. And oh my god, you give up! This is where the most infamous boss of the game, Seymour Flux, takes place. Reason why? Right here! Yeah, just... Man, look at that. Whoa. Yeah, that move is something else, isn't it? I mean, total annihilation. It kind of sucks, doesn't it? Well, damn. I'll talk about on him more later when we get to levels and bosses. Our gang defeats Seymour again, and we head to the last stop of our pilgrimage, Zanarkand, Titus' hometown. There's also something about Titus just being a dream of the Faith, and the Faith are tired of sleeping. How are you tired while you're sleeping? That just kind of eliminates the whole point of sleeping if you're tired while sleeping. But this is a JRPG, so I'll let it slide. But I guess you could say that someday, Titus's dream will come to an end. Someday the dream will end. And because the song is called Someday the Dream Will End in Zanarkand, music puns. We arrive in Zanarkand, and the opening starts playing. This is clever. All that stuff back there, Titus was just telling us, the player, about his story so far. It's here where the story actually starts being told in real time. We make haste through Zanarkand and end up in Lady Yunalesca's final Aeon room for the final summoning, but our team ain't gonna have Yuna die. This makes Yunalesca pissed, and we have a boss fight with Yunalesca. Not before Auron gives our team the pep talk of a lifetime. You see, Auron has some history with this broad. About a decade ago, Auron was part of Unifather Braska's pilgrimage. Jack, Titus' father, also went on the same pilgrimage. The three made their way to Yunalesca's chamber for the final summoning. But what is the final summoning, you might ask yourself? A human, a guardian, a member of your party has to become an Aeon and defeat Sin. So, add 2 and 2 together, Auron lost both his best friends, Jack, who became one with Sin and an Aeon, and Braska just died because he defeated Sin. Auron, as a young man, confronts Yunalesca but is defeated and mortally wounded. Auron crawls all the way back to the bottom of Mount Gegazet before succumbing to his injuries and dying. But his soul was not ready to die, so Auron became unsent. After a long, and I stress long, battle, our gang defeat Yunalesca, and now, Sid's airship is ours to explore the whole world of Spira to your heart's content. Like, seriously, welcome to Side Quest hell for us completionists, am I right? I just keep high-fiving myself. But let me get back on track. We're in the final few hours of the game's main story. Our gang come up with the idea to blast the Hymn of the Faith at Sin. Why Hymn of the Faith? It's Jack's favorite song, and Jack is Sin, remember? They blast the song, and it draws out Sin. After a number of battles against Sin, we go inside Sin. Our gang make good progress until... Oh, your mother, Seymour? This dude doesn't give up. But there's something here. And that something is Seymour 4, aka Omnis. And this is the best boss I have ever fought in the series so far. Epic music, epic atmosphere, creative boss mechanics. This is just awesome. But I'll gush about him more later once we get to levels and bosses. We finally defeat Seymour once and for all, and Yuna finally sent him. Seymour is gone forever. Rest in spaghetti. Never forget it. We make haste to the final area of the game, a destroyed industrial version of Titus' Zanarkand. Finally, our gang enters Sin's core, which is the destroyed Zanarkand dome. Awaiting Titus is his father Jet. He turns into his Aeon form, and it's time to defeat Braska's final Aeon. Our gang defeat Jet. Jet, before dying, basically tells Titus how much he loves him and how proud of him he is. And Titus, despite how much he hates his father, somewhere in his heart, really does love his dad too. But screw good storytelling, let's fight a bug. And then, we beat the bug. Sin's gone. The dream ends, which basically means Titus dies. And that's, as they say, is that. That is Final Fantasy X. Spira is saved and never has to worry about Sin again. But Titus vanished. Also, while Yuna is sending Jack, Auron gets sent, and his soul can now rest, knowing that Spira is safe. That's the story, and let's just pray to Jesus I didn't mess anything up, because we're already 15 plus minutes in. Final Fantasy X is a turn-based JRPG. You got 3 characters pretty much at all times, and your goal is to kill the thing before it kills you. You take turns hitting the thing between your 3 characters, and then you're forced to take some punishment yourself, because this is turn-based. Your enemy is also allowed some turns to try to kill you. So make opportunity and think strategically about your next move. You literally have all the time in the world to think strategically also, because if it's your turn, the enemy will just pretty much sit there picking flowers. Each character brings something different to the table in terms of combat. Titus is speedy all-rounder with haste abilities to give you more turns. Use him. Yuna is the standard white mage, aka the girl that keeps you alive via healing, protecting, etc., but she also has her summons which are very overpowered. Like optional summon Yojimbo, who has an ability called Xenomata which instantly kills anything. Even the super boss of the game, Penance. So yeah, use Yuna because she's awesome. Kinda hot. Quack has the best overdrive in the game, aka super attacks, attack wheels. But damn, screw the way you have to obtain it. You gotta win Blitzball games, and Blitzball just sucks. But trust me, it's worth it in the long run. Aside from attack wheels, he has fantastic accuracy, meaning that enemies that evade your attacks won't be able to avoid Waka's attacks for the most part anyway. Lulu is your black mage, aka offensive magic user. She really comes in handy with her audacity abilities, flare, ultima, etc. She also has high evasion, but crap defense, so when using Lulu, there's a certain risk and reward thing going on. Kimahri is probably the weakest link of our party. His thing is absorbing the enemy's moves and turning them into overdrive abilities. He is also the strongest starting party member, but quickly gets outclassed by Auron. Auron is the powerhouse of our group, and he specializes in weakening the enemy via his break abilities. He also gets some good overdrives. The only downfall to Auron is his low accuracy and speed. But if you have Titus cast Haste on him, it's no problem. Again, use him. Last is Riku, and she's pretty crap for main game stuff. Sure, she is on her own the fastest character in the game, but has abysmal strength, defense, and magic. Only use her overdrive mix, which can create some pretty overpowered stuff like Trio of 9,999 and Hyper Mighty G, etc., etc. That's our characters, but before we head off to graphics and presentation, I should address the way you level up, the Sphere Grid. The Sphere Grid is an unlinear level-up system, level-up what you kinda want system, which encourages experimentation and replayability. You got power nodes for strength, defense, etc., ability nodes for learning new abilities, and you kinda get the point. By beating up monsters, you'll get spheres. Let's say you get 6 power skills. You'll be able to expand 6 power nodes on the Sphere Grid, as long as you've earned enough AP, aka EXP, to walk this grid via grid modes. It's fun and easy to understand, so with gameplay out of the way, now it's on to graphics and presentation. Graphics are absolutely incredible no matter what console you're playing on, PS2, PS3, or PS4. The soundtrack is incredible overall. The presentation is just simply top-notch. Enough said, ladies and gentlemen. Now on to levels and bosses. Final Fantasy X doesn't have much in the way of levels, but there are puzzle dungeons called Cloister of Trials. These are mini dungeons where you have to solve some puzzles to get a new Aeon for Yuna. They're short but fun for what they are. But the real meat and potatoes are the bosses. However, I'm just going to talk about the ones that really left an impression on me, for better or for worse. Seymour won because how the heck was I supposed to guess this? Use Steel, one of Riku's abilities, to skill a potion off of Seymour's goons to stop them from healing Seymour consistently. Ivray because it's really tough. To be honest, I find Ivray the hardest boss in the game. That's fair anyway. Seymour 3 or Flux because, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap! Lady Unalesca for being the boss that I had to implement the most strategy in. And it also took me 45 minutes to beat her. But however, during my 2 playthroughs of Final Fantasy X, once on the PS2, once on the PS4 version, I'm undefeated against Miss Leonaleska. Spectral Keeper because, damn, this boss looks cool! And now we get to see more for her, oh boy, and this is just awesome. The gameplay, the music, the challenge is just right, the design, the arena, the everything is just awesome. Like, I love this fight more than words can describe. Just, it's awesome. It's awesome, it's awesome, it's awesome. It's just the best dang boss in this game and in this series, hands down for me. That could be subject to change because, you know, I've only recently been playing the Final Fantasy games, so, you know, I haven't fought Kefka or anyone like that, but I have fought Sephiroth, and Bizarro Sephiroth was just annoying. And then finally, Braska's final Aeon. The boss fight that comes right after my favorite boss in the game, and Braska's final Aeon is easily my least favorite boss in this game. Like, seriously, Braska's final Aeon is the cheapest sack of crap this side of Canada. Yeah, Canada. Not Canada, not America, Canada. Deal with it, brah. Like, seriously, screw those dang new pagodas that heal them and power them up. And finally, the final boss that you can kill in one shot with the Phoenix down. So, the bosses of Final Fantasy X are quite varied. A vast majority of them are really fun to fight. But those 2 last bosses are just awful. Jack for being too cheap, and Yevon for being a complete joke. But, as I said, 2 bosses out of the 40-plus hour campaign ain't half bad. Now, folks, it's time for my final thoughts and opinions. Final Fantasy X is a phenomenal JRPG that has a great story, great characters, simple but yet super deep gameplay, and a good difficulty, with some unwanted spikes. I recommend it to people who are looking into a gateway into JRPGs, along with Tales of Symphonia, Vesperia, and any KH game would also work well, except for Rechain of Memories. But if you see this game, play it. You won't regret it. And with that out of the way, Final Fantasy X gets a 94 out of 100. And with that, this list concludes. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for maybe more reviews in the future, but I can guarantee you my next video ain't gonna be a review. I'm going back to a countdown. And I have an ideas for countdowns. I'm going to do a top 5 for my favorite bosses of each series I like. So prepare yourself for top 5 Kingdom Hearts bosses, top 5 Tales bosses, top 5 Sonic bosses, etc, etc. You get the point. I'm going to do a top 5 bosses thing, and that's sort of my idea. And you might see some more filler videos in between. Well, of course you're going to see more DW rants and stuff like that. But with that out of the way, this is the Dodo Wrestling Fan, signing out. Also, follow me on Twitter.